Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, it's Adam here, and as I'm sure a lot of you know, I recently took a trip out to Europe. I bounced around in a few different countries, starting in Poland. Briefly, I was in Hungary and Slovakia, as well as I spent most of my time in Austria. But I also, towards the end of the trip, did go up to Germany, which you can see here. Now, the reason I was there was for this, of course, Gamescom. If you're not familiar, Gamescom is a very big video game convention. I think the biggest one in Europe, kind of like the E3 or Tokyo Game Show of Europe. And I was fortunate enough to get invited to attend, which was really, really cool. And I'm going to do a bunch of videos on Gamescom. You'll see those later. But for the purposes of this video, I just wanted to show you a couple of things. First, they had a lot of stores that sold all sorts of cool video game merchandise and stuff like that. As you can see here, a lot of this, the companies have their own official booths. And I saw this, which was really cool. Those are classic console-themed notepads, including, of course, a nice Dreamcast one right there. And those were super expensive. They were like $10 each. And I also found the Ryo Hazuki statue, the only Shenmue reference I saw anywhere at Gamescom. But I didn't search everywhere. But the primary point of this video is to show you guys this. There was one store that I found down there that was basically a retro game shop. So the guy was cool enough to let me do a tour, so I thought I'd show you guys some stuff. He had a bunch of boxed European NES games. He had a lot of stuff, but it was chaos, dude. Like, it wasn't super well organized because it was basically just a kiosk at Gamescom. And of course, it doesn't really reflect it in the shot, but there was a lot of people there. So like, you'll notice a jump cut that's going to come up in a second because I could only film in chunks because it was just impossible. But the guy had a sea of PlayStation 2, easily the most common console I ever see over in Europe. It's scattered everywhere. All sorts of PS3 games, and I noticed this one, Wipeout Fury, HD Fury. That's a Euro exclusive. We never got that, at least not physically, in North America. All sorts of other stuff there. You can see, like I said, it's chaos, man. There's just so much stuff everywhere. There's some attempted organization, as you can tell, but yeah, you know, a lot of Game Boy Color, NES, Super NES. He had this weird action replay thing for the SNES. More NES stuff. Yeah, PS1, Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, DVDs and stuff. Now the guy has an actual store, which I did not see, but I believe you'll be able to find that online. Or you could probably find that if you're in the area, I'm sure. The business card at the beginning of the video had the address you could check out. But yeah, that's just a quick little shot at the store, and there's the angry girlfriend, which means I have to go. So that was a neat little store in there, and I was really glad it appeared, because you might have noticed, unlike the Poland video and the Austria, Hungary, Slovakia video, I didn't really show you any touristy footage other than that scenic countryside type of shot. And the reason for that was that while I was in Germany for 3 days, I really didn't get to see anything. We left Austria in the middle of the night and drove 8 hours up to Cologne, which is where Gamescom is. And I mean, I woke up when we were pulling into the parking lot of Gamescom, and we just waltzed in. And we were there all day, and then after it was over, we drove an hour out to Dusseldorf, which is where our hotel was. By the time we were there, everything was closed except for McDonald's. I noticed that, by the way. American chains in other countries are opened way later than everything else that's local. There's a little bit of pride in that for some odd reason. Seriously, Subway, Burger King, McDonald's, those type of things, they're always open later than all the local stuff. Starbucks too. Just a note for fellow travelers. Not that that's really relevant to anything. But my point is that happened the next day as well, and the day after. So even though I was there for a few days, I never really got to see much of Germany or really go anywhere. So I was really happy that this store existed inside the Gamescom Convention Center so that I could look for some pickups. And the store itself, the guy who ran it was really, really nice. Spoke English. I noticed that maybe it was just because it was Gamescom, but there was like no problem with the language barrier. Like, people would open up in German, but if you spoke English, they would respond in English. Like, they were capable of it. And Yeah, that hell of a nice guy. My girlfriend and I, we both bought stuff and we bundled it together, and he gave us a nice big discount even though we didn't really ask him to, which was cool of him. So I only picked up a few things. She picked up more stuff. If you want to see what she got, I don't know if she's already done it at the time this video is coming out, but she will, I'm sure, do videos of her pickups and stuff she did at Gamescom, so feel free to check out her channel if you're into that. You would have noticed her earlier in this video. But regardless, let's talk about the stuff I picked up, which was only a couple of items. The first up is not technically a game, but it is game-related. It's called It's-A-Me, Mario, the original Super Mario 64 soundtrack. I was really happy to see this. I love the music in Super Mario 64, but I did not know if it had ever gotten an official album release before. I've certainly never seen it in North America. I mean, it might exist, don't get me wrong. I just don't know. I've never seen it. So when I actually saw a copy of it there, I was like, shit, I gotta get that. Yes, a lot of the language stuff is in German, but who cares? Music CDs are region free, and it's, audio with no dialogue whatsoever. I just wanted to be able to enjoy the music, and that's exactly what I got with this. So very happy to have that. The inside, for what it's worth, looks like that. Yeah, really, really cool, and I was really, really happy to get that. Now, the other two things I got were games. They're both for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and which is a console I almost never buy games for. And as you can see, they're boxed, they're complete, which is weird because I don't even own any other boxed or complete games. So why would I get some stuff for the NES? Well, the NES had, I think it was something like 37 exclusive titles in Europe that North America never got. Granted, some of them might have come out in Japan, but at least as far as the Europe versus North America thing, 37 games they got that we didn't. And so I kind of had a goal of wanting to get at least one, and this dude actually had two. So I thought, all right, you know what, screw it. Let me get both of them. Now the first one up, nothing special really, but it was exclusive, which is why I wanted it, is just the Smurfs. There might have been a Smurfs game in North America. I'm honestly not sure. But the reason I know that this legitimately was an exclusive was the fact that it was made by Infogrames. And yes, it's Grames. Because I looked through a list and they said Smurfs Infogrames. That was an exclusive title. It's not to be confused with another Smurfs title, assuming it even exists. So yeah, the one thing I noticed about this game was kind of funny, and it says it on the other game as well, so I think it just has something to do with, maybe this is just on all PAL games. If you're in Europe, I'd love for you to tell me if this is on there, and perhaps you can explain this. There's a little warning on the side that's in English, and it just sounds like a weird mistranslation because I'm not sure what it means. I'll read it to you verbatim. Licensed for licensed by Nintendo for play on Nintendo Entertainment System. This game pack cannot be used with the Mattel or Nintendo Entertainment System versions of the Nintendo Entertainment System. The fuck does that mean? I don't know. How does that make any sense? But either way, it's on there, and it's on this one too. Now you might be thinking, well, look at it. It says the Smurfs, but it's clearly in a different language. It's probably a translation error. Yes, I think this is like the French version, but this one right here is the UK version, and it says the exact same thing. So I don't know what the hell that expression actually is supposed to mean, but I'm sure someone can explain it. If I had to guess, I'd say it's their way of saying, like, this cartridge isn't going to work in a North American unit, you dumbass. Which is not actually true if you have the 10 NES chip disabled. I did a video on that if you're curious how to do that. Or if you have the blinking light win, which I did a video on as well. If you have either of those things, you will be able to use European games on a North American console, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, that's why I was, one reason I was really happy to get that. And the other game, a little bit more exciting than the Smurfs, is new Ghostbusters 2. And I'm sure there's a bunch of people who are like, oh, you dumbass, Ghostbusters 2 isn't a European exclusive. I have it for the NES. Wrong. What you probably have is this. This is just Ghostbusters 2. I know, I've got it too. But new Ghostbusters 2 was a game that only came out in Europe. Well, again, possibly it came out in Japan. Cover art, as you can see, is different. It's made by different companies. This is the one that we know in North America was made by Activision. This one, believe it or not, was made by HAL Laboratories. And if that name sounds familiar, they're the guys who made Super Smash Brothers. The late Satoru Iwata, his company. I don't know if he had anything to do with this game specifically, but yeah, that company. And I've actually been told this game is pretty good, whereas the other Ghostbusters games are famously not very good. I've heard that this one is not too bad, and was one that we probably should have seen over here. So very cool to pick that up as well. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got at that store. It was a very cool store, and yeah, I hope that I get to go to Gamescom again next year and see if there's more stores and stuff I can check out. But yeah, that's kind of it for stores that I went to. From here on out, it's going to be more like just Gamescom focused videos, at least for a little bit, and then I got other things I'm going to be doing, trust me. But yeah, so that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.